Yeah, we'll get into that, man. So we just did the Lakers outlook for the season. We're gonna talk about the Thunder's outlook for the season, man. The Thunder completely dominated the season, starting the year 24-1 after 25 games, and finished with a 42-14 record pre All Star break. They were the first team in the NBA to get to 40, 50, and 60 wins, alongside possessing the best net rating in the NBA with a plus 11.1. Shea Gilgeous Alexander put together another great, potentially MVP like season, averaging 31.1 points per game, 4.3 rebounds per game, and 6.6 assists per game on 55% shooting from the floor and 66.5% true shooting, which is a career high. AJ
My goodness.
Mitchell and Chet Holmgren had a breakout year two as well. Mitchell averaged 13.6 points per game on 48.5% shooting, and Holmgren averaged 17 points per game, 8.9 rebounds per game, and 2 blocks per game. That was the huge thing. I'm pretty sure,
Yeah, year
I'll,
three
I'll
for
end up
Holmgren.
year three from Holmgren, year two for AJ. Um, the leap that AJ Mitchell took this year, especially with all the
Oh
injuries, and
man.
I'll talk about that, once we wrap up the whole
Yeah.
outlook. But just his growth this season, coming from last year where he was getting some playing time, not really that much, like really garbage time minutes. Him being able to take this leap in the second year and just kind of be the second initiator of the offense whenever
Yeah.
all our guys were injured was a huge leap. And then obviously what just Chet has been able to do, obviously on the defensive side of the ball,
Mm-hmm.
we know what he can provide. Holding, I think he's holding opponents to like 53% shooting at the rim, which I think is the best in the league.
Yeah, and
So
in the NBA. Yeah.
his defensive ability and just what he's been able to do on the offensive side of the ball, it seems like he's gotten a lot comfortable getting to his spots. His jump shot is looking a lot more fluid than it was last year. I mean, he still has that hitch, but it looks like he isn't being as hesitant in moments whenever he's open. And I think that's something we need to see from him, specifically in the playoffs. So, that being said, while not unbelievable numbers, the stability from the Thunder without J Dub for most of the year, 49 games missed, is a testament to their depth in the front court and back court. The OKC Thunder also had another historic year on the defensive end. The Thunder only allowed
Mm,
opponents to score 106.5 points per 100 possessions, which ranked first in the NBA this year. And they also ranked third in the league in steals this season, averaging 9.7 steals a game. Offensively, the Thunder didn't skip a beat either, scoring 117.6 points per 100 possessions this season, which ranked seventh in the entire NBA. And the Thunder had the eighth best scoring bench, as their bench scored 41 points per game. The Thunder finished the year with a 64-18 record, clinching their division and winning the West. You know,
man.
I think
Jared
obviously
McCain.
Jared McCain, that trade that we were able to do with the 76ers was a huge factor as to why,
Mm,
especially post All-Star break. You brought it up when you said that the thing that you wanted your team to improve on was the defense. For us, it was our three-point shooting and just getting the offense fluid whenever Shea isn't on the court. And I think that was exactly what, AJ Mitchell missed a lot of time too, but having our second, like our bench unit stepping up at big moments this year. Isaiah Joe is a flamethrower from three. I think our
man.
best shooter, hands down. And then Jalen Williams, Jay Will, has had an incredible year. I think it's getting not overlooked because, obviously it's winning basketball, but just
Underappreciated for sure.
100%, bro. It's been him, kind of being able to be like our Swiss Army knife whenever we have, iHeart out, Chet out, because they've been in and out the lineup. Jay Will has been pretty consistent in our lineup and, provides on both sides of the ball. And I think passing, kind of like the mode of a big man for the Thunder, being able to set good screens, pass the ball, get the ball into, the tight pockets and get to the pass it to the open man. He's been such a huge valuable asset for us. But, kind of like what you were saying, man, just especially post All-Star break, I believe we had if not the hardest schedule in the league, one of the top 5 hardest schedules. So that was going to be a huge test for us. I know we're going against the Nuggets, the Pistons, the Celtics. You know, that
Lakers,
was Lakers. Yeah. Like we were going against all the top teams in the NBA. So the fact we were, you know, we went through our lows in the season. I remember, you know, at the beginning of the season, it was when we were in that 25 game period when we lost one game. Any loss up to that point, it felt like it was dramatic.
The world was ending,
oh my gosh, yeah, like the Thunder are losing. What's going on? Are they a fluke? This and that.
Yeah.
So for me personally, it sucks seeing that just because, you know, I care so much about it and I'm watching these games, and just because we lose a couple games in the season doesn't mean that we're a fluke and we're still not the best team. I think
that's understandable.
We proved to the league and to the, you know, all the fans of the NBA that, you know, we still are the top man. We may not be as dominant, quote unquote, but it's, you know, I think the numbers speak for itself, and I think it's the narrative that has been made for us with the injuries. You know, coming off of a championship, your expectations are to get back to that point again. And I think with all that being said, what we've been able to go through, I mean, like you said, like I wouldn't give it a 10, but it definitely is in the caliber up there. I would say a solid like 9. Honestly, 9 out of 10 for us.
Yeah,
because if we were healthy, if all the players were on the court as much as, you know, as they could be, or, you know, injuries were a little less, then it would have been a perfect season. But that being said, I mean, I didn't have to come onto this podcast a lot and complain, but, you know, the moments where I did, it just felt like the world was ending in a sense. But I think it just goes to show that that is the caliber of team that we are, and it's kind of expecting greatness each time you touch the court. So it's a good thing, but it's also a lot of pressure. But the fact that we were able to still be the best team in the league, clinch the number 1 seed in the West, I think it goes to show the type of team that we have and the mentality that we had going into the season. And it was great, bro. Like, you know, Shea potentially getting another MVP speaks for itself, and just the improvement from all the bench players with all the injuries that we had to go through. I think, you know, it goes to show that, you know, we still have one of the deepest teams in the NBA. That's, you know, my takeaways of the season, man. Not a perfect season, of course. I don't think you'll probably ever hear me say it's a perfect season, but it's as good as it can get with the circumstances for the
Wait,
the
if
roster.
they broke the record? What if they broke the record?
If they broke the record, then I think it would be... It would have been a 10 for sure, but they didn't, so I can't give it a 10. But I'll give it a 9 at least, because of the amount of wins, obviously having the most wins this season, and then just the injuries that we had to deal with. So, of course, it would be a perfect season. I take that back if it was breaking the record, because obviously that's the goal.
Like,
that's but it didn't happen, and there was injuries. So I think that's why I got to give it a 9. But it was a spectacular season as a Thunder fan. You know, I have not much to complain about, and if I do, it's just nitpicking stuff.
They were awesome. 34-8 at home, 41 points per game from their bench. Jared McCain, Caruso. I think Caruso, for me, at times just looked like a bat out of hell, man. He's a banshee. You just don't want that guy. Cason Wallace is scary as hell. Sam Presti and Mark Daigneault, man, are just amazing. Their front office is great. They have A's across the board. Even in your offseason file, it's really hard to be like, oh, what can they do better? Right. Because if you look at their balance sheet, it's healthy. They're winning hella games. They have a real core. Yeah, there's not much to complain about. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to get into the ugly teams here in a second, but the Thunder are the complete opposite. They've been a consistent model of excellency for the last 2.5 years, and it doesn't really look like it's going to change. Yeah. You know, going forward either. I don't see, even in the playoffs, I have them winning the championship.
Yeah.
So you're at the tippy top of the mountain. I saw a stat the other day. I know you saw it. Chet Holmgren has never finished below 1. 1 anywhere, like high school, college, or NBA. Like, how does that work, bro? You just don't lose, bro.
He's a winner, man.
He's a winner. Well, hey, man, you know, all dynasties fall, but your dynasty is alive and well.